Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's ArbieG and today we're at the Manufacturers Series round 6 for the FIA, and we're just about going to quali now, racing up with B class, so we're in our range, and let's see if we can pull out a decent result in a Goodwood, which I've never raced at this one before, so a new track for me. Nice to be on home turf. First race I think we've done in a British track, so we've changed our sponsorship deal. We've now gone with a Fanta, so we've dropped a Domestos. I think it was Domestos, and we've signed up with Fanta as we're coming around now to the best lap. We're actually right at the end of the qualification here, and it's been quite a tough qualification for me. My best practice, you can see up there, a 116 flat is what I'd managed to put in. Not really managed to come close to that. You can see my best at the moment is a 117.8, so and you can see I've just put in a 117.6, so still about, you know, good second and a half over my best. So not putting in a good shift here. I know I had a spin out on one of my very first laps, so I had to come and pit in again, just get the repairs and resort the tyres out and get back out there. Unfortunately, it's put me in a bit of traffic as I sit behind the Volkswagen here in 11th place, the Russian in the Volkswagen. So I actually quite like this track. It's a very high speed track, not many slow corners, which kind of works slightly in the Aston's favour against all the other front, rear and mid rear cars. Actually had to perform an overtake there on my qualifying lap. It's the last lap I could do. Normally I wouldn't try and overtake on qualifying, but he was going to slow down this lap and it was my last chance, so had to get that overtake, so I went on the inside and just sort of took on the corner there, making a light bit of contact as we went through the corner. As we come around now to the last couple of turns into sort of what is probably the most technical part of the track, which is the chicane here. You can lose a lot of time or gain a lot of time in here if you can get it right, and I get that all right, I think. Not too bad. Aston's not the best car at going through there, but I come in now and clock in a 117.3, so certainly not my best qualification, not my best performance in qualification, and that drops us into 10th place, as you can see on the grid there. Unfortunately, I have messed up a little bit, and I didn't actually get the full recording of the gameplay, so we don't have the timed outers or like the intro and stuff, but I did grab the qualification, which you can see here, so we can at least see we're 10th on the grid. And if we'd run our best time in practice, we would have been second place. I mean, that's saying, you know, when it comes to actual qualification versus your practice, there's a few more things that naturally slow you down, such as like your weight and stuff like that. But, you know, to be over a second off my best practice is actually quite poor. But we're starting in 10th, and let's see what we can do from the middle of the pack as we get away now to a rolling start on today. So, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any time deltas or anything to work with like we normally do. Normally I sort of clip the gameplay and I crop the picture and then I put the time differences on the left as we get away now to the race. Like I said, rolling start always quite nice, but I had to do a rolling start in the middle of the chicane there, which is a little bit awkward, but we've got through all right, and we come through now into turn 1 and really light on the braking there, and we've gone wide on the first turn, and can we get this back together? And no, it's a complete spin out, facing the wrong way, and this is a terrible start. First corner spin out. Not the start we want, as we almost make contact there, as the Volkswagen actually does really well to avoid making contact and going round us, and it's dropped us now into 19th place, so from 10th to 19th in corner 1. What a start to the race. And now we've got a whole lot of work in front of us to do to try and salvage this race. You know, we've had a few of these, not a few of these specific occurrences before, but a few, you know, incidents on the really early in races, and sometimes that invokes a rage quit, especially, you know, more so if it's someone knocking into me. But what happened there was just me. I think I was fiddling around with my traction control coming into turn 1, and I lost my concentration and just missed my brake. And so, you know, when it's your own fault, you feel an air of frustration, but I don't get angry like I do when, you know, someone just, you know, when we were looking at the previous Nations Cup and you're getting knocked off every round was just, you know, in turn like 2 or 3 was absolute soul destroying, and, you know, invoked a rage quit, and it's just really bad round. Whereas this one, you know, yeah, the same results happened. Look, I'm still falling back to the back of the race, but it was something that was my own fault, and that's something I can accept a bit more and just sort of get my head down and think, well, try and keep a positive mindset. Now's the time to get a good practice in. where I know the people in front of me are going to be a little bit behind me in terms of pace, especially since I run a poor qualifying anyway, so I kind of felt like perhaps the people in front of me from 10th I probably might have had a bit of pace on. But you know, you try and take this race now with a positive mindset. Let's see how far up this grid we can work up. As now we've closed that gap down on the Volkswagen in 16th place, Frenchman in the Volkswagen, and we are just sat in a little space behind, not ready to make our attack yet, but we might be lining up when we come around to the next straight. This is why this race works really well for the Aston. It's a shame that we had that spin out, because it's a fast track and the Aston really suits fast tracks. It's quite a heavy car, as it looks like we had a spin off there, and we're going to come off and we're going to come in front there, and we're now moved up to 16th. So we've climbed a couple of places just through people making their own mistakes, which you expect a lot of mistakes happening at the back. As we look up on the inside now, looks like we're going to try and make an overtake on the inside of the Volkswagen. It looks like we've got the speed, and have we got the braking? Yes, we've got the braking there, spot on. And we actually run a little wide there, and might give them a chance to close off, as no, we got into the apex first and have managed to get through cleanly. As we come around now to turn 1 where we span out before, and let's see if we can take this perhaps a little bit more cleaner than what we did last time, and just get our braking right. As I noticed when I was doing this race, I was braking a lot differently to a lot of other cars. Don't know if it's a difference in cars or whether you know, I just perhaps took this turn a little bit superior, but I was always coming out of this turn 1 with so much more exit speed than people in front of me, so I found that it was where I was gaining a lot of time on people. So that's something that I was already quite aware of, and I was looking at that as a place to, as we skid off a little there, as a place to perhaps overtake a little more, or perhaps just sort of be able to climb up on some of the gaps, as we're now sort of easing that gap now on 14th place in our 3rd lap, just coming around like 2/3 of the way through the 3rd lap. And we've climbed up to 15th, so we've done alright so far. A few more places if we can climb up. It's a 15 lap race, so it's quite a long race still ahead of us. So we've still got plenty of opportunities, and people got their own penalties, as you can see, to serve, and people are going to come flying off. So if we can at least keep on the track and just perhaps put in a bit of consistency. In terms of practice, I didn't get as much practice on this one as what I normally do. Again, at the past couple of races I haven't been able to get as much practice in. But hopefully that should change going forward. And it looks like someone's come off again, and we climb up another position as we've had a spin out there in front of us, and we managed to now move up to 14th. So we're only a few places behind where we started. It was a really bad spin out though. You know, any spin out where you end up facing the wrong way is going to be a hard one to recover from. As looks like number 13 serving a penalty now, and it's going to take us just up to 13th. Full 1 second penalty there must have been for a collision. As we come through now, and you just hit your brake, and as you see this hay bale go past your window on the left, a little bit of light brake and slip to 5th. Again, brake through here. You usually try and trail brake a little bit through them, but must have felt I had the pace right. Slip to 4th and full accelerator out until you get to here. Full brake, trail brake in at 3rd, and you need to hit the acceleration as early as you can. I kind of didn't get it quite right. I accelerated maybe a little bit too early, which means I had to come off, or else I was going to run wide, which would have had an impact on my exit speed. But yeah, I mean, this track, there's 2 turns really that if you can get on the throttle early enough, you just gain bags of time, and I knew I worked that out, and unfortunately just didn't really seem to pull that off in the qualies, and yeah, it's a shame. I think perhaps could have done a bit better this race. It looks like someone's had a crash there on the chicane, and I actually make a little bit of light contact myself, and it's reduced my pace a lot, and it looks like I'm given the opportunity for the Russian in, I believe it's is that a Peugeot? I don't know, sorry. It's a Subaru, no sorry, it's Subaru, my eyes aren't working that great. Just in front of me to pip that place, and now, like I said, this turn here, however, though, I definitely have the exit speed, and I know I do. You can see I've kept up right on in there, and I've definitely got the speed as I look on the inside, but he's going to close off that gap, and we're not able to get through there. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to climb a place there, as now we come on through and hit the first apex, and come on to hit the second apex. Let's see if we can keep nice and close coming round into the next long straight, which again, the Aston versus the Subaru, definitely going to have him on the straight line speed, and this is a fast track, so I'm going to have the advantage. The only cars really that are going to have an advantage of me on the straight line are the ones that are forward drive, you know, with the engine in the front and the drivetrain in the front, whereas this car, engine in front and drivetrain in the rear. And we're sitting just behind, didn't find an opportunity there. We're just going to sit behind and wait for our opportunity to overtake, because we definitely do have this pace on the Subaru in front of us. And we're just going to come round now into the last chicane. Let's see if we can get this quite nice and just keep up nice on him. Yeah, we've hit that nicely. Maybe a little bit too wide, not as nice as I thought. I had to make sure I slipped up to higher gear to ensure I kept grip there, and it's lost me a bit of pace. But again, I brake a lot earlier than anyone else did, but it's just the lightest braking that you need to do, and he's actually run wide there, and it's going to be an easy opportunity unless he no, he didn't come on too hard. And we've now moved up to 12th and should be able to build up a nice gap because we've got a nice long straight after there. So a really bad place to come off the track, and like I said, felt like that was the one place on the course where I definitely had the edge over quite a lot of people on the track. And we just do a little bit of light braking coming into here again, and then heavy on brake. Reduce speed quite rapidly just to get on there. Again, I should be trying to trail brake a little bit more through that corner, so I'm losing a little bit of time through there. In terms of my times, you can see on the right, not too great at the minute. I know I've been sort of sitting behind a couple of people and trying to fight here and there, so you're going to lose some time through that. But we're not really pulling up anything great in terms of our lap times. Not even anywhere near our best practice place of a 116 flat. With our best at the moment being a 118.2. But still though, even with those lap times, we've pulled up a lot of positions, and now we're in 12th place as we come up now. Behind 11th, we've got a Brit in 11th a position, and just in front of him, another Frenchman. I don't know if it's the same Frenchman, but another Frenchman in a Volkswagen. And I believe the Britishman is in he's in the Ferrari in front of me. The car we were actually racing with last week on the last week daily races. Really fun in that race. Imagine it might be quite a challenging car on this track. As it looks like, again, this turn here, I've got the exit speed on in him here. I'm going to look on the outside, I'm going to swerve to the outside, and I'm going to dip on the inside because I know he's going to try and block me. That's exactly what I wanted to do. He's again trying to dip on the inside there. I don't know why he's trying to do that. It's, you know, it's alright to perhaps, again, defend, but don't just swerve around trying to block anyone coming past you. That's just not a defensive race, and that's just being a bit of a dick. So we got past him anyway, and hopefully we don't have to worry about him anymore as we come around and just make sure that we can get a nice exit out of here, which looks like we've got that nicely. And actually, speaking of lap times, we actually did slightly improve on the last one with a 117.8. So we are starting to perhaps find our way a little bit here now, as we're actually in 11th place now. So we're only one position behind where we started, as we're now about halfway through the race in lap 7. So, you know, this mistake we had at the start, it's cost us a lot. You know, half a race worth of work and a big gap between those people in front of us. So a lot of work to do here. Pardon me. But at the very least, it's been, you know, some fun racing, as it looks like we might be overtaken here as the Ferrari's gone on the inside of us, and we're going to afford him the space here because he's got the inside, and there's no need to do that. But we know we're going to get a better line as and it looks like he's actually spun out there, and I've made contact there. I've got myself a 2-second penalty. Yeah, that was one of those things where completely not intentional, but at the same time I know I was following closer. I knew I was going to have a lot of exit speed on him. He spun out on that corner. I just had no time to react whatsoever, so perhaps should have sat back a bit. But you know, you also are trying to race and overtake, and you don't expect people to spin out, not in that way anyway. So either way, he probably would have come off track, but unfortunately I've picked up myself up a 2-second penalty, so that's something we're going to have to deal with, and a possible impact on the SR. So it is what it is. I'm not going to begrudge the system too much. It's quite hard to tell between someone genuinely trying to knock someone off and someone, you know, just racing close and a genuine incident happens. But it is what it is, and perhaps I could have been a little bit more sat off him a little bit more, knowing that he was going to be a bit more later into the braking. But I wanted to get past him, I wanted to overtake. So it is what it is. So we've got a 2-second penalty in front of us now, and we've got this chap behind us, the Russian in the Honda, sat behind us. No, I don't think he's in a position to overtake, so we're looking like we're defending this position pretty well. Now, I've called this up, I don't know if I've put it in the title. I'll work it out. I probably won't put it in. Technically not a highlights video, because as you can see, we've been watching the full race now for about 9 laps. But we're not going to watch the full race, because there are some laps where I'm just literally sat in a gap and we're just watching me do some laps. So we'll have a bit of time cut out. But we're pretty much seeing most of the race here, as we've served that penalty now and we've dropped all the way back to 13th. So we've still got work to do if we hope to try and perhaps climb to where we started, finish this race in 10th. If we finish this race in 10th, I think that's a satisfying result. In fact, to finish it, you know, where we are 13th is actually quite a satisfying result, considering what happened on that first lap. And yeah, I still feel a tiny bit bad about hitting that guy, as much as, you know, you say how can you avoid that. Also, I could have avoided it as well. So slap myself on the wrist and try and perhaps be a little bit more careful in future. As we now crack on and try and close down this gap that we managed to build through this penalty we incurred, as we're now coming towards the end of the 9th lap. And coming in through this turn now. Yeah, this is a really nice turn. It looks like number 12's gone wide there, so we're going to be able to build up a lot of time on number 12. As I don't think we're going to have a chance to overtake. It's a large, so we're going to sit back and just wait for an opportunity. As he's run wide there, so we're going to try and avoid a collision as he actually comes sweeping across and smashes on the side. Don't think that's intentional at all. He's going to get a penalty. Obviously, he should have got a penalty. I don't think it's intentional. I think he lost control and just tried to gain it, and at the same time as I was coming past him. But unfortunately, you know, means that I've lost a little bit of pace and a little bit of time, but it means I should be able to get an easy pass through past him now and get back up into 11th place. So we're sitting 11th place now. Not a bad place to be, you know, even if we are to finish our race. You can see now we've got a big gap between us and the person in front. But we're going to skip forward, as I said, lap 14 now, and we actually, you can see we closed that gap down. We had about a 4-second gap from what I remember, and we've whittled that down in the space of about 3 laps down now. So we're right sat up behind 10th position, the Russian in 10th. And you can see the lap times there. We've really started to find a bit of consistency and a bit of pace, hitting the 170. Still haven't managed to break into the 116 region. Must be a little bit of tyre wear, and just perhaps I'm just not hitting that same pace I was in practices. As we're looking like we're gaining now on the Subaru again, and someone's come off the ride, so we're going to be able to climb up a place there as we just try and avoid any contact. And now we've moved up to 10th, so we've managed to get back into the place where we started this race in. And at least if we finish here, it will be neutral, as we sat up right up behind the Russian here, nice and tight up to him to get as much slipstream as possible. Then we're going to set in on, if we can, get on the inside like we did with the Scirocco before, and let's see if we get the better braking going into this turn. We've got the track well positioned, so he's going to have to either go around us, as actually we've got the pace in him as well, and we're easily going to be able to take that place. And let's see if we can hold it going through into the chicane. It looks like we have is easily the best place to overtake on this race, because not many people think to defend the inside, and I don't know why. If someone's overtaking me and we're relatively match pace to say, so I'm going to try and get on the inside. If someone's like faster than me, they've been gaining on me, I'm probably not. I'm probably going to let them go past, so perhaps that's what he's doing, but I don't think so. So it looks like we're trying to now, in the final lap, we're actually pushing up on 8th place now, so we're making some real good progress, and it really begs the question that if we didn't have that spin out on the first lap, where would we be on this race? You know, pushing up a bit higher up. As we look on the inside here, and he's closed that gap a little bit, but not that bad, and we've taken that position. Oh, and we've taken a hit there, and it's actually a bad hit, and we've spun. That's really unfortunate. Let's have a look and see what happened there. And this is from his point of view there. As he come into this corner, he saw me on the inside there. He actually tried to squeeze that gap a little bit, not too much, and he actually accelerated there, and his acceleration just bashed straight into the back of me. It's hard to say whether that's intentional or not. He got himself a 2-second penalty. It's not going to impact him as much as it impacts me, as now I've dropped back down to 10th place. And I get a little knock there by the Honda, again quite hard to judge, and he's got himself a 1-second penalty. And we come through here, and it's a really unfortunate, as we actually come off again twice in a couple of corners on the last lap. What a horrible last lap we're having here. I just think it must have been like a lack, you know, burst of concentration, because I've made that turn, you know, 14 times prior absolutely fine, and I think just taken that hit, which to speak to whether he intentionally just tried to hit me and make me lose control, I don't know, or whether he just wanted to aggressively get his position back. But I made a clean overtake there, and yeah, I did get hit off, and it's really had an impact. And it looks like we're going to finish on 11th place, so we actually dropped a place from where we started, which is unfortunate, because we could have potentially had 8th place for this race, but we'll take it, considering how bad this could have been. That dropped down to 19th place. We have finished in 11th, which isn't our best race, and certainly not our best result. And quite honestly, this was actually first race of the day. I could have had another stab at it, but I think quite a lot happened in that race, and there's quite a lot to take away from it. So I kept it as it was, and you know, we can go into the next race with a fresh pair of eyes. But let's have a look and see what that does to the standings. So we've got 37 points to that. race, which actually moves us up one place. We're now in second place for Aston Martin in the Derbyshire area, so that's fantastic. We're total now on 127. DR wise, we actually had a slight decrease on that, so we actually finished in the bottom half of the race, so actually only slight by about 50 to 100 points. So you can see there with the DR, we've had a slight decrease day on day. SR has not been impacted, so that crash we had earlier in the race didn't actually impact us SR wise. And actually, weirdly enough, when I checked the results, that guy who knocked me off on the third to last corner also didn't have a negative impact on his sportsmanship rating, which again, it's quite hard to say whether what he did was intentional or what. I'm not going to spend like forever trying to speculate, because as you can see earlier on in the race, I accidentally hit somebody off. It can easily be done. But it is what it is, and it just happened at a really unfortunate time right at the end of the race when it looked like I'd really pulled it back. But, still an entertaining race nonetheless. A lot of fun racing to be had there, a lot of fun overtakes, and it's quite nice, even though you get knocked to the back and it's frustrating, to even just be able to race with a clean grid in front of you, and you know that people in general are going to be a little bit behind you in pace, and that's fun. So that is it anyway for today's video. I hope you'd enjoyed it. I've been me, you've been you. This has been round 6, and I hope you, yeah, I'll talk to you soon. I don't know why I ballsed up the end of there, but yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.